Hey guys, and welcome back to a fourth review video. This time it's again Pride, and I didn't actually want to make a fourth video because I have already made 3 reviews of his games, and yeah, I just didn't want to repeat myself too much, and also takes a lot of time to record and edit all these videos and upload everything. So I actually didn't want to make a fourth review video, but this time he said, or he insisted that this is a crazy game. And he's basically playing as the Vietnamese versus the humans. And I thought, yeah, okay, if the game is so crazy, let's give it another shot. And as you can see, we have, I think in German this one is called Steppe. So this is like a nomad map. And both players seem to be a little bit confused at the start what we have to do, because we both don't have a TC. And we're just wandering along here and doing some scouting to find out what is in the vicinity of the villagers. And the blue player is already making a TC. I actually like the position of blue's TC. It's not perfect. I actually would have put the TC right to the wood line. But it's not too bad actually. He has some stone in the vicinity, he has some gold, and he has a lot of wood of course in the vicinity, so that's not bad. Yeah, what Pride is doing here is something that I don't really like. I'm not an expert on this map in particular, but I've played a lot of Nomad maps, which is pretty much more or less the same, just that on Nomad you also have some water that you're fighting, so Nomad has a different dynamic than this map, but I don't really like this position. I mean, it's not extremely bad, at least the TC is close to the berries. But then again, at some point, if you want to make farms, you have to build a mill anyway. So I think it would have made more sense to put a mill next to the berries. And the problem with this is just that the next woodline is here, and then the other next woodline is here. And both are pretty far away from the town center. Which means that both woodlines will be exposed after all. And that's not a good thing, because I can remember a Nomad game where I was placing a TC like around here, you could imagine, and another enemy was placing his TC yeah, in a similar spot like that. And I basically just put one tower here and made some archers, and I could completely cut this guy out of wood in feudal age. And yeah, this is exactly the kind of thing that you don't want to happen. I mean, if you don't get some food income for some time, that's okay, or if you can't make some villagers for some time. But having no wood is actually even worse, because no wood also means that you can't make any farms, which means also no food in long term, and also you can't make any buildings, you can't make any archers, you can't make siege weapons, except for siege elephants, of course, but not every civ has them. Actually, I think only Bengalis, Dravidians, and Gojaras have siege elephants. So, if your enemy exploits that, that's a bit of a bad situation that you put yourself in there. Ooh, I like the TC fire, to be honest there. Yeah, but this is a bad position, because it's too easy to cut you off from your wood supply, and that's why I wouldn't have placed the TC there. I think, especially as in the early game, gold is more important. I would have put my TC around here, so that I have a woodline that I don't have to worry about. Oh, he's using his horse scout, that's funny. Does he also have a horse scout? Does he have a horse scout here? Don't see one, but probably has one. Yeah, I would have put my TC here, so I have my wood, I have my gold. And on long term, for instance, yeah, I would have put a mill here, and on long term in Castle Age you can place another TC around here, for instance, so that you also have some stone supply. And yeah, as I said, so at the beginning it's not the worst to have the TC here. I mean, you have your berries and that's just fine. But then again, it feels to me that at the point that you have to make a mill somewhere, the mill just feels like a waste of 100 wood, because it doesn't really do anything except for enabling you to make farms, or maybe place some farms on some strange places on the map. But yeah, I just think this position is not a very good position to place your TC. But enough about that now. Let's push this a little bit forward. Boom, 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 boom. And he gets pop capped. Okay, now the blue player put his mill there. Yeah, only problem I have with that is that the walking distance is maybe a little bit long. Would have been easier maybe if he had put his TC there, and then he can garrison his villagers there. But it's all kind of okay what he's doing here. And also he has a pig here, so he can also slay the pig if he feels the need to. Oh, and as I can see just right now, there are a lot of deer on this map. So you would be very nice off with a hunting bonus like the Goths have. That the hunts last longer, or even better with the Mongols, that we can hunt 30% faster. Because yeah, if you just make 1 or 2 mills here and you take 10 deer as Mongol player, you can have some really insane feudal times and make some insane scout rushes very early on. Yeah, and as you can see now, the blue player is moving towards the red player. That is because he's approaching a feudal age, and as humans in feudal age, he can make a second TC. And he's yeah, about to do, or at least I'm very convinced that he's about to do what usually the Persian players often do on this kind of map, which is dropping a TC. The only difference is as Persian player you have you have 2 times the health points on your TC. That means you have 4,800 health points on the TC instead of 2,400. So a Persian TC douche is of course more dangerous, but the advantage of a human TC push of the human TC drop is that you also have a second TC in the background that is still producing villagers and doing economy. So if this fails, or if you can't enforce enough pressure on your TC line, it's not that bad, because if you lose that as a Persian, the game is over, and as a human you can still boom after that. So yeah, it also has an advantage basically to do that. What is this now? Okay, he's making a mill down here, so he can make some farms there. Yeah, okay. And he's making some houses here, or he plans to make some houses here. Okay. And the human player is now making spearmen. Yeah, okay, it's better to have 2 spearmen than nothing at all. But of course, this Vietnamese player who is not going heavily into cavalry, that much is clear from the start. Yeah, maybe 2 spearmen are not the most efficient, but yeah, it's better than nothing. But third player Pride, he gets in his upgrade for the lumber camp, which I like. Okay, now he sends these guys on stone. That's interesting. Does he actually know that there is a TC? Oh, he still doesn't know that there is a TC. I wasn't sure about that. Yeah, but now he's starting to make his barracks. Okay. And the blue player is now giving away that he is already at this position here. And the spearmen are senselessly sent into the death, or at least it seemed so. Yeah, they could get away, but one got a heavy beating. Yeah, and the human player seems to want to make archers at this point. Of course, usually as a human player, it's much more favorable to make cavalry, because as we all know, the humans, they don't have the best options in the archery range, which has several factors. And yeah, one is they don't have Arbalester, which means it doesn't scale so well, but that's one thing. But the biggest thing is, of course, that we don't have Bracer. So basically after Castle Age, human archers are not the best that you can have. But yeah, for the start it's not too bad. I mean, that's in feudal age, so it's okay to go archers with a human there. I just wouldn't do that, I think. But yeah, why not? You can also go archers with the Celts or whatever. Not completely wrong. And the human player is making a tower here. What Red actually should do now at this point is deleting these houses or these house foundations, and he should have taken his villagers and just to destroy this tower, because he only has a couple of archers there that cannot really kill the villagers at this point. And now he's making a defensive tower, and that is not the worst idea, but the position is completely bad. And I can tell you why, because if he had made this tower right here, it would have been nice, so he can shoot down this tower. And yeah, but as I said, it probably would have been better to just destroy the tower with your villagers. But the problem is now, if you build your tower within this line here or adjacent to it, so even if you had put it on this square, the problem is that BTC can shoot on your tower, and the fight TC versus tower will always end well for BTC, except maybe if there are only 2 villagers inside of there and you are Teuton and you have 10 people inside the tower, then maybe the tower can win this, but I actually even doubt that. Yeah, it doesn't do a lot of damage here, as you can see. And yeah, as you can see now, BTC is shooting down the tower, and yeah, that's basically what was to be expected, because towers always lose to TC fire. So the position was really bad. I mean, if he had put his tower like here or next to the farm or so, it would have been kind of okay, you know. Also, you could have put his tower here, then take his villagers, tear down this tower, and the blue guy is losing his tower, and you still have another tower that is protecting your eco. But this tower basically it didn't do anything. And yeah, it just was a waste of resources, so that's not a good strategy. I'm not even sure whether the blue player is making any more villagers, but oh, he's making new villagers, okay. But I was kind of doubting that, because he doesn't have enough people on food for that, because you need 6 to 7 farms to pump out villagers out of 1 TC. So theoretically, to make perfect use of both TCs, he would have to have at least 12 people on food, and quite obviously that is not the case. Yeah, so actually I think even that the red player is a little bit above in economy. And yeah, now he has this wood line completely unprotected. The blue player is completely attacking at the wrong place, because it's obvious that the red player has to have a wood line at some location. I mean, you cannot play without a wood line. And instead of harassing the gold here, what the blue player should have done is trying to see where blue has its wood line. And as he already has scouted here, and he knows that there is no wood line, what the blue player should have done is going to this wood line, because now the blue player is just attacking a mining camp that the red player won't use anyways, and he's attacking it with archers. So that's theoretically, or basically, the worst unit with which you can attack a lumber camp. So what the blue player is doing here is really stupid, actually. He should have gone here to attack this wood line, but now there's already a tower up, which was a late tower, to be mentioned again. So this tower was not a fast tower. And yeah, if this guy just would have been a little bit more bitty with his army, and he had gone here, basically he could easily have killed 3, 4, maybe even 5 villagers. And on top of that, the red player wouldn't have had any woodland anymore where he can get his resources. So I think the red player was pretty lucky at this point, but the blue player was not smart enough to actually go to the woodline. And it also, yeah, okay, we have fletching. I wanted to say it also looks like we don't even have fletching, but we do have fletching. Okay. Now he could, the blue player could theoretically go under the tower, which would, yeah, exactly, and kill the villager. Theoretically, this tower should go down, but now the blue player is going away. That's stupid, of course, because at this point in feudal age, or okay, the red player is in castle age, but he doesn't have a university and he is not Teutons. At this point, you can very clearly say that the enemy does not have murder holes, and if he had put his archers right next to the tower, the ram would easily have taken down the tower, and you still would have at least have had like 6 or 7 archers, and you could have torn down this tower and killed the wood line. And this again would have been very catastrophic for the red player, because the blue player will have long time wood income, but red player would not. So that would have been a very bad thing. But what I like here is the response to the archers with a mangonel, because that's exactly the kind of unit that you want to make when you are defending versus archers. What I don't like is that the mangonel is not protected. It could very easily be sniped with one scout, which is usually the unit you want to go for anyways with humans. And what I even like less is that there's not a villager, because this villager could very easily repair the mangonel. And yeah, bam, now the tower kills the mangonel. And yeah, it wouldn't have cost you a lot of resources to repair, because repairing only would have cost half the resources that the unit costs. And if you had repaired this mangonel, you would still have a mangonel. This tower would have gone down. You could have put your mangonel right here, and with the mangonel you could have attacked the TC. So actually losing this mangonel here was a big thing after all. Yeah, and now the red player wants to make a castle. See what the blue player does. This is another thing that I will never understand. I see this a lot. Not on 1000 ELO and above, of course, but I see it a lot with a lot of people. They start farming around their mill instead of around their town center, and then there are even people who only farm around mills and never around their town center. Like you play on Black Forest with these guys, and in Imperial Age they only have farms around their mills, and around their town centers the whole space is unused. It's really a crazy way of playing this, but what I don't understand at this point, or what simply is not good, I think that much can be said for sure. Okay, at least you guys in TC. Yeah, but now the mangonel is gone, and yeah, this is exactly what you had to expect after all. What I don't like here about this castle is that it doesn't actually do a lot. I mean, okay, you could say, yeah, it still does further protect your wood line, because now there's not only a tower, but also a castle that is protecting the wood line. But yeah, first of all, it doesn't go up at this point, which was to be expected, because there was some military here, and also some, some scouts, and also some archers. So that's one thing. This thing doesn't go up, and the next thing is, I didn't like the position of the castle anyways from the start on, because what does this castle do? I mean, okay, it does protect your gold, you could argue, but it would have been much smarter to build a castle around here. Although I'm actually not even sure about this castle again, because this castle could actually be very easily be reached by the town center. But if you had put a castle right here, he could very easily have killed this annoying tower that he could have killed several times earlier. So a castle right here would have been nice to kill the tower, and also you would have had control over the TC here, so that he can't make use of his TC. And on long term, of course, because of the arrow fire, he would have lost this TC. So just putting this castle 3 or 4 tiles up and put it like here, I think that would 1 to 3. That would probably have been the best move at this point. But yeah, okay, this one will go up now at least. And of course, once it's up, he does have dominance, yeah, of this part of the map. Yeah, the blue player, I don't know, it seems he didn't make many more villagers at this point. Although, well, he's still at 30. He has 30 villagers. Let's see how much the red player has again. Red player only has 19 villagers. Okay, so theoretically in villagers we are still leading. Or in population at least. It's not all villagers, there are also some scouts, and there was some archer at some point. Or yeah, there was an archer at this point. Yeah, okay, but now he's getting this castle up. Of course, that's the right decision. I mean, he already invested a lot of resources into this castle, so it's just sensible to finally get this one up. And now it's not looking that bad, because he can also shoot on all the other buildings here, and he can also deny this gold, so it's not completely bad. But as I said, the second castle that he made is actually the first one that I would have made in this situation. Maybe another tower around here, so that you have a little bit more support. But I think that 2 towers would have been more than enough to secure this situation here, and this castle here would have been the more important one to go for first. But now the score looks already kind of off. I might have a look at the statistics. Swiss statistic that were playing right now? 1 sec. Okay, yeah, so this is at 31 minutes. Yeah, okay, so this is the actual statistic at this moment. Okay, the red player had some more kills. They both destroyed 1 building. But funnily enough, a red player also has much more eco income. Especially if we look at stone. Which is a high indicator to me, return to map, which is a high indicator for me that the blue player had a lot of idle time. Good. Okay, let's move a little bit faster forward. So far, I don't see anything here that I would like to comment on. Okay, scouts are going in. Scouts are doing some raiding here. Or trying to do some raiding at least. He theoretically could have killed the tower and then attacked the woodline again, but now he draws his forces back. He also could have killed this Rattan archer. I mean, Rattan archers are very good versus other archers, but they still have the same weaknesses versus melee units. Yeah, but the blue player, he doesn't move up so far. Now he lost 1 TC, so he's building a new TC. This is super punishable with this 1 villager here. You just basically need 1 archer and you can take this one off. So, yeah, but he's making a TC here now. Position is kind of decent, I would say. It's close to stone, close to gold. So that's all okay. But probably the blue player is still pretty far away from Castle Age. Yeah, he also doesn't have the resources, so he's still stuck in Feudal Age. He almost has enough gold for Castle Age with now he has enough gold for Castle Age with 202 gold, but he is still more than 500 food short of going to Castle Age. So the situation is definitely not looking very nice for the blue player at this point. Personally, I think that you could actually GG at this point. Because what are you doing at this point? You can still try to roam a little bit. You could go full feudal and just try to make an army of scouts. But yeah, then again, that's also not the toughest or the strongest strategy that you can pull off here. Yeah, now he has a spearman here, he has his tower here, he has 2 castles here. Basically, those scouts and especially those archers were of no use here. Because there is not really anywhere where you could successfully attack the red player now. Okay, good. So now let's move a little bit faster forward. Maybe something is happening soon. Okay, seems like there was a monastery. Boom, boom, boom. What is he doing? Okay, he's making a market. Okay. Nothing is happening. We're all just Sim City playing at the moment. Like, yeah, let's do some economy before we do some more military. And he has taken this relic. That's nice. I actually think there are only 2 relics on this map. Okay, the blue player now reached Castle Age. Okay, he can theoretically now make some knights. The red player should make more military at this point. I think his eco is more than secure with the town centers and the castles. I think the red player now should heavily focus on making some military units. Blue player is now making a castle. It's not my favorite castle, I must say. Okay, it's not detect. It defends with gold and with stone, so it's not completely senseless. But it does not really do any aggressive or offensive purpose. It doesn't serve any purpose in that way. And also it doesn't serve a defensive bonus. So maybe a defensive castle here. Or maybe a more offensive castle around here for this gold might have been better. But now it's walking away. Okay, if you make a castle here on the resources, of course you have to also mine them. So if you build another TC right here and go on the rest, that's okay. But now he has just built this castle here, and okay, yeah, he prevents the enemy from taking the stone and the gold here. But that doesn't really matter, because the red player has so much gold and stone left in his own base that I don't think he is caring too much about this gold and stone. Not to mention that there's also gold and stone on this. aside, so it's really, there's really no shortage there. Yeah, what I don't like here is that he is researching Imperial Age in VisTC, because actually what you would want to do with VisTC is at least producing 3 or 4 more villagers, so that you can harvest the gold and the stone. And VisTC is the furthest away from the next resource, basically. And yeah, I would research Imperial Age out of VisTC and make some more wood guys, some more lumber jacks out of VisTC. And yeah, have VisTC booming, because this is definitely the last TC that you want to research Imperial Age in, because here are only 4 villagers, and of course you could easily use 10 to 15 villagers on this side. So yeah, as I said, researching Imperial Age on this town center is not the best idea. Okay, Horse Scout has died around here. Poor fellow will be remembered as a brave supplement to the Red Army. And now the Red player is already in Imperial Age, and if he had done some scouting, he would know that here is a castle. And now he has also a lot of gold already. He could easily make an army of veteran archers out of these castles. But what I personally would do is making 3 trebuchets, and then combine the trebuchets with some skirmishers. Okay, that was a waste of resources. It was a throw. The player flew 2 units here. Also, these guys were standing like ooh, let's have a coffee break. Let's take a short pause from all the fighting. Yeah, but now the red player is making some trebuchets, and oh, he's researching paper money. Okay, not too sure about that one. I mean, we buffed the effect of paper money, so lumberjacks slowly generate gold in addition to wood. But the effect is not that strong. I mean, he now paid 750 resources, and especially a lot of wood, especially a lot of food, of which he didn't have that much. Now he's making these archer ranges. I don't understand why they have to be so distant from the castle. I mean, you could have built this archer ranges also here, so that we are much closer to the castle and the villagers are protected. Yeah, and now he's garrisoning them. Okay. Yeah, but okay, he now could trap down these buildings at first, which is what I would do. I mean, attacking with archers is also kind of working, but it's maybe not the most effective way. Yeah, but now these guys are standing there, they're not doing anything for some reason. What I would do in this situation, especially as the blue player mostly made archers, at this point is I would make some veteran archers, give them some upgrades, afford the bracer and the blacksmith for them, and also buy chemistry for them. And for the rest of the army, I would mix in some trash. I would make some pikemen versus the scouts, and also I would mainly do some imperial skirmishers at Vietnamese. I mean, as Vietnamese, it's basically never a mistake to go for imperial skirmishers, because they are just such a strong unit, and it's yeah, basically never a bad idea to go for them. So I would just make an army of veteran archers and imperial skirmishers and some pikemen, and push forwards now, because as you can see, the score is very far off now. So the red player is 3000 points ahead in score, and most of that should be economy. Yeah, or at least a big part of it is economy. Yeah, economy is 1000 points. Although also technology is further advanced. Okay, that's because he has more things researched, and he's in Imperial Age. Although I must say that 45 minutes Imperial Age is pretty late. Actually, it's quite easy doable, even with some rushing or a castle drop, to get Imperial Age times below 30 minutes. So Imperial Age after 45 minutes. That is a little bit late, of course. If it was like 35 minutes or 40 minutes, I wouldn't say something, but 45 is a little bit very late. But okay, let's just take a look at this terrible castle age time of a blue player, and yeah, okay, then it puts it into focus, I think. Yeah, but now the red player, he has much more villagers, and at this point, I think it's safe to say that the blue player basically is completely helpless. I mean, he's now making some knights there, but he's prioritizing the attack upgrade to the armor upgrade, and yeah, of course that won't save the game for him. I think it would be enough just to take these units here. And oh no, he's in Imperial Age. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I think the units that are already standing here would be enough to deal the final blow. Yeah, he's making some kip check. Yeah, of course, that never scales well. I mean, if you not because kip check are a very bad unit on their own. I mean, they have decent uses. They are not great. And I would definitely prefer Mango Die or Camel Archers to kip check. That much is obvious. Although, yeah, if we had Bracer, I must say, if we had Bracer, they actually would be quite a decent unit in my opinion. Or actually even really good in many instances. But it doesn't scale well versus Vietnamese, because now you can make Imperial Skirmishers. And Imperial Skirmishers, basically, they totally shred Kipchak. So making this army here of Archers and Kipchak, who are both very weak versus Imperial Skirmishers. And then also some Skirmishers who are also not the greatest versus stronger Skirmishers. That's of course a completely wrong army decision, or a completely wrong unit decision. Because as you can see, this will very quickly melt here. And also, these couple of knights here, they won't make a difference at this point. Because there are also some veteran archers in there. And veteran archers with full upgrades, they can very easily shred knights at this point. And I think this must also be the point where the blue player is realizing that he cannot win this anymore. Yeah, and there is no GG called out. But at this moment, the blue player knew that he cannot defend the archers anymore from the red player, and that he doesn't have any chance to snipe the trebuchets. And at this point he realized that there is no chance for his castles and for his town centers to stay up, and at this point he had to realize that the game was over. Yeah, the game was not that crazy. When he told me that he got TC dropped because he said, yeah, this was a crazy game, please have a look at it, I rather thought that he was that the TCs were basically shooting on each other. So here's one TC shooting on this TC shoots back, and there are some guys repairing it, and the blue player still has some economy in the back. I thought it would be a scenario like that, like some really aggressive TC douching. This did not happen. Actually a shame, because the red player noticed very late that there was another TC. I think if he had put his TC, I think if the blue player had put his TC very close here, and he had come with more villagers, like 12 or better 14 villagers, and he had done some really intense TC douching, that could have been an interesting thing to watch. Yeah, it was kind of decent still. As I said, I didn't like the position of the TC that he started with. I didn't like the positions of the towers that he were placing. The castles were a misdecision. So there were a lot of things in there that I already criticized. I don't want to, and I don't think I need to repeat all of that now at this point. But I just wanted to underline that again. But also that the red player did some decisions that I can absolutely not approve of. Also researching Imperial Age in this TC was, in my opinion, quite an obvious mistake. Yeah, it was obvious that researching it out of this TC would have been much more sensible. And yeah, the red player also got lucky, because if I had been the blue player, I would very well have noticed the situation here with the TC, that the wood lines are unprotected, or that the wood lines can be easily cut off from wood, or that villagers can be cut off from the wood lines. And yeah, if the red player had been in this scenario that he doesn't have any wood income anymore, it would have been very bad for him. Also, the red player got very lucky that the blue player didn't have the idea to take his archers and go to this wood line. Because as I said several times now, if he had gone to this wood line and he killed like 5 or 6 villagers, and the red player has no wood income, that would have been very catastrophic. But yeah, I guess on this ELO, it's 800 ELO after all. I guess you can make any kind of mistakes as long as the opponent is not proficient enough, is not eloquent enough to actually punish your mistakes. I guess you can make any kind of mistake as long as the enemy or the opponent doesn't know how to abuse that fact that you made a mistake there. But yeah, just to mention it, I mean, the blue player didn't play this well, but if he had played this correctly, it would have been very easy to cut the red player out of wood, and this is probably exactly what would have happened in 90 or at least 80% of the games when you're playing with people with 950 ELO. And I think if you play with people who are 1100 ELO, so my level basically, I think if you come in, I think in more than 90% of the games, players would have punished the location of his TC basically. And as I said, once you have no wood, that is a very difficult and catastrophic situation, because it is very hard to get out of this anymore. And yeah, okay, but still, overall, I think this was a very deserved win. The red player still played much better than the blue player, in my opinion. Both made some obvious mistakes, but the macro of the blue player was actually a little bit better even. I just had a problem that both were placing buildings in the wrong spots, and also we didn't really follow any clear plans or strategies, because the blue player was just like, oh, let's send some villagers to the red villager, to the red player, and build a town center. And I mean, the plan is not that bad, okay. He's making a town center there to maybe enforce some pressure. So that's okay for me. But if he does that, what he could have done is basically mining the stone, for instance. And then just taking the villagers out of his TC to make like 2 or 3 farms, to have some wood, some food income. And then he could have made some towers, so that he keeps the red player from farming around his town center. So that's something that he could have done. But the problem is just he didn't really follow through. I mean, there are basically 2 options. He could have put his TC right here, and just mine the stone and the gold and go on the farms and so on, and give his resources. So basically he could have boomed with his economy. He could have done that. So that's option A basically, that he could have done. Or he goes and makes an aggressive town center. But when you make an aggressive town center, you also want to play aggressive. So just putting a town center here and being like, oh, I now have a town center here, that is of course of no use. So if you already make an aggressive town center, it would have been nice to make some ramps, for instance, or to make some towers and so on. But just putting this town center here, that is not sensical. It doesn't really help much. So putting a town center here or putting a town center here and just booming would most likely have been the better option at this ELO, especially as many players on this ELO, they are not this aggressive, so it's much easier to get away with a very, very greedy feudal age boom when it would be on 1000 ELO or 1200 ELO, because at this ELO people start to be very good at punishing you for being greedy with your economy and not making any military. So yeah, I mean you can pull off any strategy, that's completely fine for me. I don't say this or that strategy is per se bad. Just if you have a strategy like going aggressive, I make an offensive town center, you of course have to follow this through, as I said. So if you just make a town center here but you don't make anything except for maybe one tower, that's not so good. So this is a little bit a thing that I've been missing here. But with both players, I wasn't really sure what the plan is, because blue player started something, then he didn't do anything. The red player, he was also pretty defensive, and until the point where he was making the trebuchets and the skirmishers, that was obvious that he wants to push with a combination of trebuchet plus skirmisher and archers. Until this point, it was also hard to read the red player's gameplay, because I didn't see any clear and obvious plan, and that's something that you have to practice on this ELO, that you basically have one plan. It doesn't even have to be a complex or a complicated plan or something like that, or a difficult to pull off plan. It's even better if you make a plan that's easy to pull off. So at this ELO, what you should do is just making one plan basically and following this one through. Because if you don't do that, or if you change plans in between and you don't commit to what you've started already, this is a very good way of not winning the game. So basically, this is a very, very good game of losing the game. Because, as I said, if you want to commit, if you want to be aggressive, you can do that, but then you have to pull it through after all. So, but like on Arena you can play your eco game or you can play aggressively. But, for instance, if you make a castle drop, but then you don't apply any pressure with monks or siege, and you just put a castle somewhere and shoot down a wall, and the enemy is falling behind that, that is of course also to no use. So if you want to be aggressive, you have to be aggressive, commit to it. It's perfectly fine. I actually would even encourage to play aggressively, because on 800 ELO, in case some other people are watching who are 800 ELO, on 800 ELO, a lot of players cannot adapt accordingly to early pressure. So I think it's a good idea to play aggressively, and yeah, of course, this can also backfire. So that you play aggressively, and when it rather hurts your own eco or your own situation, that's of course possible. But yeah, if you want to play aggressively, commit to it, because nothing is worse than starting one strategy and then in the middle of pulling your strategy, you just decide, oh no, let's commit to another strategy, because this is basically not how it works. It's even difficult with attack switch often. That if you want to switch from archers, for instance, you're playing as Malians and you started with archers, and now you want to make a switch of Remember Cavalry. It can be difficult to even make a attack switch from archers to cavalry and completely changing your strategy. That's a very certain way of losing the game. Maybe it doesn't look perfect when you're trying to pull off your strategy. Maybe it doesn't look perfect, but still commit to it, because just doing a completely different thing at some point and saying, oh, I've lost all this, let's just do some eco and see what happens. That is a very safe way of losing the game, so I cannot suggest that. Yeah, good. But that having been said, I've been holding quite a long lecture here. That having been said, I don't think there's that much more to mention here. I don't want to repeat myself again. I just noticed another thing that I've noticed also in the other games of the red player. This is resources. So the resources are basically insane. The food, not so much, of course. But there is so much wood and so much gold. I'm not quite sure how much a Red Archer is, but it's roughly the same cost of a normal Arbalister. Yeah, no, okay, it's 40. It's 45 gold, so it's the same gold price, but they just cost double the wood at 50 instead of 25. Okay, so I must admit, Red Archers are quite a bit more expensive than normal archers if you have a look at the total resources, but as wood is rather the scarce resource, and wood is usually an abundance on most maps. Yeah, he could easily have made like 20 veteran archers with this, or actually no, 20 veteran archers would be like 900 gold. So he could have made another 60 veteran archers with that. Or okay, maybe the wood wouldn't have been enough for that, but yeah, let's say you could have made another 30 archers with that, or some monks, heal archers, whatever. But what I just want to say, your resources are pretty insane, so at this point, You could have made another castle here, or actually you could have made 2 castles. 2 castles are 1,300 stone. You have 1,727. Theoretically, you could even buy stone for a 3rd castle. So, I mean, at this point, it's not bad, or not terrible, but you still have so many resources because the blue player is dominated anyways. So the game is already over for the blue player. Yeah, this is what I said in all the other 3 videos as well. If you have resources, it's always the best idea to spend those. And the best idea to spend those would have been to make a castle and some houses so that you are not pop capped anymore. And yeah, then invest maybe also in some siege. Could have made more trebuchets or some archers. Retin archers are a very strong unit. And as you already have purchased the elite upgrade, I think you should have committed to Retin archers. And yeah, just spend your resources. Let's have a look at the blue player before we finish this. If he spent his resources, yeah, the blue player does not have that many resources, which also makes sense because he probably collected way less than the red player. Let's have a look at the eco. Yeah, the blue player did not nearly collect as much resources as the red player, but also the blue player has quite a lot of gold on his thing. So theoretically, the blue archer, the blue player, he could have made some onagers. He could have made a couple of onagers to shoot down the archers and trebuchets here. So the blue player was making the same mistake of not spending his resources. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, but I think there was much more that he did that lost him this game. Oh, it's also interesting. He has some petards here. Okay, that's interesting to see. Of course, we didn't do anything, and as the red player has ballistics, I'm very convinced of that. As the red player has ballistics, it would be very strange if he did not have ballistics at this point in the game. Yeah, he has ballistics in chemistry, so that's the 2 most important upgrades for the Vietnamese that you can have in the university. So as he has ballistics, these petards couldn't do anything anyways, because yeah, the castle just would shoot them down before we can reach the castle. I think the only thing that these guys could be doing is tearing a hole in this wall, and yeah, then even if he did, it wouldn't really matter because yeah, who cares? Who needs this wall anymore at this point in the game? Good. So as I already summarized, you made some mistakes in placing the buildings. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes. But apart from that, it was kind of okay. Yeah, the mistakes on the blue player's side were more profound, were bigger in my opinion. But overall, it was an interesting game. But just do me a favor and place your next TC next to a wood line. Because as I told you, your opponent might not have made use of that or might not have abused that. But you have your TC there. But I told you, the better you get and the better your opponents get, the more likely it is that opponents can make use of such a TC position. And again, as I already said several times, you got really lucky because if a blue player had not attacked your mining camp with his archers, which is really stupid, if he had just taken these archers to attack your wood line, basically at this point, it would have been extremely hard to recover from this. Yeah, so just saying that again. So it was not all skill that won you the game. You made a couple of things better than the blue player. So I think it can easily be said that you are the more skillful player than the blue player. But yeah, the fact that he didn't send his archers in here, this wasn't skill on your side, it just was pure luck. And also that he didn't commit to attacking the tower with a ram, because if he just had sent his archers there, right next to the tower, you have no murder holes, the tower goes down, you again have exactly the same problem that you were having before, that your woodline is basically completely obliterated. And also another thing that comes into my mind, you only took like 3 villagers to fight off this ram. Yeah, you shouldn't have done that. 3 villagers is definitely not enough, because a couple of archers plus a ram that tears down your tower at the woodline, this is a massive threat to your economy. So you really want to take care of that. And next time he sends in a ram there, send in at least 5 or 6 villagers, or maybe even all of those villagers, destroy the ram, kill the archers, because no wood is a terrible situation. Recovering from having no wood for quite some time, it's really, really difficult. So yeah, just take that in mind. And yeah, now as I've said all that, I think I'm really at the end of this video. I hope Darren, or Pride, as you are called in the game, that you could take something from this. I also made 3 other review videos on my channel already that I uploaded. It would be nice if you have a look at them, because a lot of mistakes that you have made in the first 3 videos were again and again the same mistakes, so I just kept repeating myself. Yeah, just have a look at this and consider my advice and my ideas for your gameplay. And yeah, make the best of it. And if you want to, and you've practiced this a little bit, we can make a follow-up video where I'm coaching you, because I'm pretty convinced that we can get you to 900 ELO. You have some good ideas, you have some good army control and some good attacks at some points. It just needs a small nug basically in the right direction, because it just feels a little bit planless, or a little bit unstructured at times, and I think we can easily push you another 100 ELO points above your level that you're at the moment. Yeah, that having been said, I hope you take some use out of it. And for all the other people who are not Darren, thanks for watching this video. I hope it was interesting for you. I hope you also could take something out of it. And if you're also stuck at 800 ELO, because Darren said that he was stuck at this ELO basically, if you're stuck at 800, 700, maybe even 600 ELO, but you don't really know what you are doing wrong or how to improve, you can very well also contact me and maybe send me one of your game files on Discord, because if you do that, I can have a look into your games too and give you some advice. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that I can boost every one of you. If you're a low ELO legend, so someone around 600 to 800 ELO, I'm very convinced that I can push you at least 100 ELO points. So yeah, if any one of you is interested in that, just write it in the comments and we can make out something concerning that. And have another coaching session. And yeah, also it's free, so I don't charge any money for it. Casting these videos is basically my hobby, and it's fun to see how people improve and to watch their improvements over time. So you don't even have to worry about paying me, except of course if you want to pay me. That's okay. I can give you a PayPal where you can send me some money. But as I said, it's actually free. So if you don't want to pay any money, that's also okay. Yeah, and that having been said, thanks for watching. I hope this was entertaining. I hope you could learn something out of it. And if that is the case, it would be nice to get a thumbs up or to get a nice comment. And if you want to see more of my content, or better our content, because I do this channel with a couple of friends, so we are making content together. So if you want to see more of our content, you can subscribe to our channel and have a look at that. Yeah, and that having been said, I think everything has been said. Thanks again for watching, and have a next day or evening. And if you want to, it would be cool to see you in future videos.